And just like that, we are back. It's the 4th and 1 podcast live from Lancaster and Lidditz, Pennsylvania. Anchor.fm/4th and 1. Instagram at 4th and 1 podcast. It's your boy, Captain Nickname, Admiral Nickname, Admiral Any Name. I just make stuff up every week. Sitting next to, as always, Captain Boring, who hasn't been very boring this week. Micaiah, lots going on. A little bit to cover. For those of you who haven't watched, which is most of you, or all of you, or none of you, sorry. We have finished covering the Power Five divisions, previewing them for the 2023-2024 college football season. Last week was a late post by me, my bad, about why the SEC is still the head bitch in charge of the NCAA, and I think that proves it. Micaiah has been busy this week, and Micaiah, I'm not gonna ask you how you are. I want you to jump into, for the other people who haven't watched the 10-minute sports report, what's going on at Northwestern. We have a little bit of an update there.
So Northwestern is really going to try to hang on to this whole football thing. They have hired a associate to the head coach, Skip Holtz, who is son of Hall of Famer Lou Holtz. He coached at Notre Dame for a little bit. Or a long bit, I should say. He was most recently at Louisiana Tech. He won a couple conference championships there. Yeah, You said, and now
Two.
He's head coach of the Birmingham Stallions of the USFL, and he's back-to-back champions of the USFL. The USFL as the head coach of the Birmingham Stallions. So they are going to try to give this a run. They basically brought in an experienced guy. What it sounds like to be the bounce off the idea guy and a transition guy to help settle the ship right now, right the ship, and not make any adjustments or any drastic changes, but just help to settle things down in the Northwestern program because they are hanging on. I mean, they're going to spend a whole lot of money on a new stadium. They just spent $300 million on a brand new facility. So they're kind of all in on football at this point, and they're going to try to hang it on. But for a 1-11 program, it's a lot to ask for, especially with the playoff and the conferences expanding, with rumors from insider Roberto that Oregon and Washington want to join the Big Ten, and that Florida State and Clemson also want to join the Big Ten because the ACC TV deal isn't good. So Northwestern's, I give them credit. Simeon, one of your hot takes was that Northwestern would be without a football program at the end of the season. I have said that as well. And here we are a week later, and they're trying to hang on to it. So I give them credit. However, I'm not sure it's realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the football program still brings them in money, and they're probably looking at this from a purely monetary perspective. Also, there's, I'm sure, part of the situation is this is kind of, who was it also this week who got hit with allegations that said were factually false? I think it was Minnesota, was it not?
Minnesota, yeah, and PJ Fleck, yep.
Yeah. Factually, he not only denied them, he basically called it stupid for even bringing it up, and that's hyperbole. But this is kind of something that comes along with your football program, which is probably another thing the administration looks at. Micaiah, my question for you is, would you rather have hazing or 15 speeding tickets a season?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, as a head coach, probably speeding tickets because it's something I can't control. Right? I mean, I can suspend kids and I can discipline kids for speeding, but hazing is more of it's happening directly under your watch sort of deal. Like the hazing that went on at Northwestern, it really sounds like the head Pat Fitzgerald, he probably could have and should have known about it, especially with some of the stuff that was happening in the locker room. At least in Kirby Smart's situation, it is happening outside the football facility entirely. So there's that.
Do we know anything about the Minnesota thing that's happening? What's going on
So
with
Minnesota also, as soon as the allegations came out about Northwestern, then everyone else is kind of jumping on it. Minnesota players are saying that he gives out like these things called like Fleck bucks, I guess, where you can like store them up, and then instead of like certain discipline, you can cash them in. So it would allow you now people are saying it allowed some kids to get out of like positive drug tests, discipline for positive drug tests,
which means
and
positive weed tests
and other violations. So I mean, does he probably have some sort of monetary, quote unquote, monetary system? Yeah, my guess is because it allows kids to do good and then store things up. And then when they do make a mistake, it allows them to kind of be able to pay that debt without missing any game time. However, I don't think it's rampant. They said that he coaches with a aura of intimidation, and I just don't see PJ Fleck. However, I never saw Pat Fitzgerald as someone who would let hazing go on in his culture.
Aura of intimidation. Yeah, anybody's going to have an aura of intimidation if they're a good leader, and that's what PJ Fleck is known for.
Yeah, and me and Robert a volleyball player came out and is going to sue as well, Northwestern as well. And the thing she described that ESPN reported was punishment. It was she did something wrong, she messed up, so the team punished her, and she
took it as hazing.
And she took it as hazing.
The team being like her teammates?
The captains and the head coach. However, the baseball coach was also fired for hazing.
Oh, so this is an issue just in Northwestern in general.
Yeah, this is a school-wide issue.
Probably is more systemic in college sports than the average fan, a.k.a. you and I, know or would want or would be aware of. I think would be a fair assessment to say.
I think at this point, yeah. However, if you're a good program, I don't think this goes on very much. I think it is, I'm going to refer to it as like normal hazing, like you make the freshmen carry the pads, you have the freshmen do like, a talent show of some sort, things that you see on Hard Knocks that they make the rookies do.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's some of that in the good programs, but let's look at the programs that have these allegations so far. It's Northwestern and Minnesota. Northwestern and Minnesota are not college football playoff organizations. They're barely bowl games.
If they were, we would hear about this from Alabama. We would hear about this from Georgia. We would hear about this from Michigan, Ohio State, so on and so forth. And those are only recruiting violations. Moving on, for those of you keeping track, it's 12 Georgia players that have been pulled over and cited with moving violations since January.
Since the start of this podcast.
So basically, so
that
keep it up.
Been the better joke.
I have random money in my pocket. I literally just went into my pocket, pulled out an empty Reese's thing, and I think about $5 in ones. $4.
Well, in other news, so 12 Georgia players have been pulled over since the beginning of January, right?
Yeah.
However, the Pac-12 still doesn't have a TV deal, but that could be changing. It looks like Apple TV is likely the go-to for the Pac-12.
Is a brilliant idea. If Netflix should have gotten on this. Netflix has been looking. Now, they want their own, sports. I get every single sport. They try to do, tennis and surfing. But if Netflix was smart, they would throw money at the ACC right now. A little bit of money at the ACC right now for rights.
But Apple TV just screams Pac-12, right?
Apple TV screams Pac-12. It's MLS, right? It's the same thing. They have the MLS deal.
Right.
I think they did a bunch of baseball deals. I don't know if it's the same thing this year
Why
or what it is.
Why do they always pick leagues that no one wants to watch?
Well, I mean, that's not true. They're giving since the signing, they're giving Messi money, and I'm sure their subscriptions have gone up. I'm sure we don't have the stats for that
Sure,
yet.
but before Messi.
Yeah, viewership of the MLS is better than the hockey.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that.
I didn't
equal
know
to
that.
The last, which is I'm quoting now from memory, which is not necessarily always.
So if they can finally get they have. So again, like I said, Oregon, Washington are looking to leave.
Yeah.
Big 20. I don't know about the report about FSU and Clemson because they're under a TV contract right now.
Yeah.
And if they were to do that, if they were to join the Big Ten, anyway, we don't need to get in that. However, Arizona's Board of Regents is meeting at 6:30 tonight. So it is 6 o'clock here, East Coast.
I'm assuming that's local time. So at about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing the math at 9:30.
They're in Mountain Time, right? Or are they West Coast?
It depends, because Arizona's one of those stupid states that doesn't deserve
I bet it's at the
daylight
end of
savings
I bet
times.
it's at the end of the workday. So I bet it's 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 local time.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Right. So they're meeting at 6:30. So in a half an hour here on realignment. And here's the deal: wherever
it's 2:57 there right now.
Okay.
So they're 3 hours.
So
behind.
they're 3 hours behind. Wherever Arizona goes, Arizona State and Utah are following.
Yeah.
So Robert brought up, Robert's like, well, do they go to the Mountain West? And I was like, that would be less. They should just stay home, Pac-12. Now, again, if the Apple TV deal makes this worth it, because it's a streaming service that the West Coast, probably everyone on the West Coast has, so they're going to get all that. A lot of people have Apple TV.
They're smart. First of all, T-Mobile's throwing it at a lot of people. Apple throws it at you when you buy a new product. So there's a lot of people on it for free. You also have to remember that probably means recaps will be on Apple TV, so people can actually finally watch the highlights that are like or full games. You can probably DVR it. I don't know. I would assume.
Yeah.
So I can actually watch a full game not at 11 o'clock at night Eastern.
Right. So this is good news for the Pac-12, but they gotta get this set. They gotta keep Arizona State, and Utah. They gotta keep Oregon, Washington. They gotta bring in, because right now I think there are like 9 teams left. They gotta bring in
Fresno, Boise. Colorado's rejoining the Big 12.
Probably
follow
Fresno,
up from last week.
Fresno is a good school and Boise's a good school. They're going to compete in that Pac-12 immediately. Bring them in.
I would try to bring in Wyoming too. I know that's not necessarily the best call, but it's a good call.
Would you go FCS a little bit like the American and try to go get one of the Dakotas?
Oh, for sure. There's no way I'm not trying to get South Dakota, Montana, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and Northern Iowa. There's no way I'm not trying to get one of those teams.
Give it a go, right?
We know that North Dakota State could come in and play right now and immediately be a 500 team at least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. No. At least they're a bowl team.
The issue is these schools don't have large enough stadiums. You're not the Fargo Dome. You're not expanding the Fargo Dome. So if your charter has capacity standards that you have, they're SOL immediately on that, which sucks. But it is what it is. Maybe you make an exception. I would. Someone we did not make an exception for just because they're out of the league or a conference, even though they should be. They should rethink about joining the Big Ten, but for follow-up, Robert says, hard pass on that. We're not sure why. I guess they're just being stubborn. Is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, named after a coach, because we were a lot more racist in the early 1920s. In the early 1900s. They were literally, the dude's name was like O'Connery or something like that, and they're like, Coach O'Connery and his Fighting Irish, and the name stuck. So you can thank the early 1900s for the Little Brown Jug, and definitely a racist nickname of a football team. Micaiah, this is the second year for Marcus Freeman. He brings in a new offensive coordinator in Gerard Parker. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. Previously, tight end coach at Notre Dame. Previously, offensive coordinator for West Virginia. Wide receiver coach around the league, including Penn State in 2019. He is replacing good old Tommy Rees, who took over the offensive coordinator job at Alabama. Again, Notre Dame does have or their defensive coordinator returning. Marcus Freeman obviously is the promoted defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but he was head coach last year.
Correct. I'm just saying they have a defensive-minded head coach. I was just saying that in a special way. They also lost their special teams coordinator and their offensive line coach, bringing in Gino. I just want to say this name. Gino Juigli was the quarterback's coach, and Joe Rudolph from Virginia Tech to be their offensive line coach. It doesn't really matter. Big news, obviously, is Tyler Buckner. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah, Buckner. Yeah,
Buckner, their quarterback, and Drew Pine transferring to Alabama and Arizona State, respectively. However, they are bringing in Sam Hartman from Wake Forest, as well as a Devin, I'm assuming, Ford from Penn State. And the only reason I bring that up, he doesn't have a Wikipedia page, but he's a running back from Penn State. That means he can run the ball pretty darn well. Micaiah, what are you seeing for this team?
So I'm seeing a team that last year really struggled to move the ball, but ended up 8-4. And remember, they had two. They started pretty poorly. Do you remember the podcast episode I did last year where I sounded the alarm bells for Marcus Freeman? We did, and I think it was after their loss to Marshall. So I think they started 1-2. They started 1-2, and I was like, everyone panicked. Marcus Freeman might be out because Notre Dame fans were just up in arms because they were not used to it. And the offense wasn't performing the way it was under Brian Kelly, and there was some other stuff going on. I forget at the time within the program. So I was sounding the alarm bells. Then they kind of put it together. They finished. They started 1-2. They finished 7-2 because they finished 8-4. So they had a good kind of end of the year. Marcus Freeman still has the ears of the kid, so I'm not afraid there. But Sam Hartman was the big get. Sam Hartman, I feel like they had a great defense last year. Defense has rolled over every year that Marcus Freeman has been there. So great defense last year. They had a good offensive line with a good tight end and good stable running backs. Their quarterback play was just garbage. You bring in a veteran quarterback, hopefully that stabilizes, so you still have a good offensive line, good stable of running backs, and a great defense. You should be looking to head in the right direction. Now, they got 3 games that are super hard on their schedule. They're at Clemson and home dates versus Ohio State and USC. Ooh. So this is a playoff team waiting to pop off if they only have one loss come to the end of the year. However, they might be staring at another 4-loss season. Defense is going to be better or about the same. Offense has got to be better. And I'm looking to see if they can get back to running the football a little bit. New offensive coordinator, as you said. So we're going to see. However, the hire was in-house. They got to replace Michael Mayer, the tight end. However, Notre Dame always has a good stable of tight ends. So
yeah, a big white Catholic dude are pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
No, they lost to Ohio State, and then the weekend that Michigan played Hawaii, that we were there for like a quarter and a half because it stayed late, and then I had to leave, and it was boring. They lost to Marshall,
right?
And then they also lost to a Stanford team and the USC later on. So they actually had a 4-loss program last year.
And all of their losses were not pretty. They got physically dominated by Marshall. They got physically dominated, I think, by Stanford. Their offense was atrocious against Ohio State. And then Caleb Williams just toyed with them in that game and really solidified his Heisman candidacy right then and there. So it would be one thing if their losses were, good losses, solid, close losses. But they got physically dominated in 3 out of the 4 losses. And then they got embarrassed by the better athlete, which was Caleb Williams at the time.
You know what I'm sad about a little bit? They're not doing their Shamrock series this year. They rescheduled Wisconsin in 2026 to do Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Last year they played BYU in Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, which was the largest crowd for college athletic events in Nevada's history. Fun fact there for you. They played Wisconsin in 2021 at Soldier Field. Obviously, we remember their Boston College game in 2015, Fenway Park. They had to have the guys on the same side of the field. They had both sidelines on the same side of the field.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And obviously, they also did Yankee Stadium against, at the time, number 12 Syracuse in 2018. So it's a fun little thing that we're seeing a little bit around here and there. But what is that rivalry? Me and Robert did this, so I'm stuck on these rivalry things. What was that rivalry called that's in Jacksonville that they had to change the name?
The world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
That's the one. It's
Georgia,
stupid.
Florida. They changed it to something else.
I'll look it up, but
but here's also my problem, just real quick with Notre Dame, and then let's run through their schedule because then I want to get to all the stuff you want to get to because that is more fun than talking about this boring stuff.
Not boring.
Loaded
for nerds.
running back corps fronted by Audric Esme, who ran for 120 or 920 yards last year. Logan Diggs, who ran for 822 yards last year, left. However, their offensive line is loaded. Joe Alt, first-round pick next year. Blake Fisher, also first-round pick, probably next year. So, again, loaded running back, NFL offensive line. Their receivers, however, none of them are established. Jaden Thompson, Dion Colsey, and Tobias Merriweather are striding in the direction to be the number one. They do have a Virginia Tech transfer, Caleb Smith, who's slated to play who was slated to play a key role. However, he retired from football in the spring, so he's gone. So it's a lot of question marks. So we're just going to have to see the potential, if the potential can pop off into reality, or if potential just drifts away into people's dreams.
So it's colloquially known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Right.
It was 2006 that both the SEC and the school, both schools, asked CBS because the 2 years previous it led to, in 1984 they stormed the field, and then in 1985 they did the same thing.
Right, but then downtown around the stadium, people were just drinking all the time, and it was leading to hooligans.
It led to 65 arrests in 1985 directly. So, hooliganism. But it's still, let's be honest, it's still the world's largest outdoor cocktail party until they come up with a better name, because the Georgia-Florida rivalry is a stupid-ass one. Micaiah, starting off at 2:30 p.m. on August 26th. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 25 days away.
Let's go!
For those of you keeping track, that is 3 weeks and change. It is a neutral site. This is their Ireland series, their other cool thing. They're taking Navy on in Avaya Stadium at 2:30 p.m., which is, I'm doing the math, 7:30, 6:30 p.m. local time.
So I think it's a win for Notre Dame. However, the spread is like 20 points right now, and I think it's actually a little closer than that. Notre Dame kind of gets off to rocky starts all the time, and Navy always plays them tough.
And it's hard-nosed football. I'm trying to figure out. Okay. Home opener, 3:30 p.m., Tennessee State the next week.
That's a win as well.
Yeah. NC State in Raleigh.
NC State in Raleigh. I'm going to go that's an L.
I don't remember what you had them, and I honestly don't feel like looking it up. So...
You know what? I'm going to change it to W. I'm going to say, because I don't think I was very high on NC State, so I'm just going to change it to a W. Notre Dame starts 3-0.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I don't remember. Central Michigan home next week.
That's a win.
Ohio State home late game, NBC Peacock.
I think I gave Ohio State the win.
You didn't give Ohio State the win. I gave Ohio.
Oh, you gave.
This was one of Ohio State's losses, so I gave Notre Dame the win.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give Notre Dame the loss there.
That's totally fine because I said, it can be flipped.
Yep.
Whatever it is. The following week, Duke in Durham, North Carolina. That's an away game.
I think that's a win.
The week after that is Louisville.
I think that's that's in October. Jeff Brom is the coach over there, and he's the ex-Purdue coach, and Purdue just upsets. When Brom's the coach, they just upset teams left and right. So I'm going to say loss.
Okay. It is away, so that's fair.
Well, there you go.
They do, however, the next week return home, late game, Southern Cal.
That's a loss.
It's also on NBC because NBC has Notre Dame for some reason. Pittsburgh again at home.
That's a win.
That's a bye week, then Pittsburgh. Lame.
Okay.
Clemson away, beginning of November.
That's a win for Clemson.
Wake Forest home.
Win for Notre Dame.
And then away at Stanford.
Win.
I'm not keeping track because...
So I think that's a... So I have them losing to Louisville.
Yep.
Ohio State. Clemson. USC. And I think that's 4.
So they're a 4-8 team. Am I
8-4? 8-4.
8-4?
Yeah.
Am I understanding that?
Yeah. So what they were last year?
Yes. Sorry. I am remembering I'm not going to... Oh, it's the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. I forgot it's not just Notre Dame. That's as much as I care about Notre Dame, by the way. I just completely moved on.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just looking here. It's very interesting. So in 1988, it was Boston College Army, then Pittsburgh Rutgers, then the year after. We're doing this. Hold on.
All right.
Then in 1996, it was Notre Dame Navy. 2012, Notre Dame Navy again. Penn State UFC in 2014. 2016, Boston College. Northwestern and Nebraska last year. That was one of the games that got Scott Frost fired. And then Georgia Tech, Florida State is next year in 2024. So there we go. And
historically, from what I remember, all of these games were one-score games. So Notre Dame, Navy plus the 20, probably a pretty safe bet.
Besides the last time that Notre Dame played Navy here, where they swamped them by 40, 50-10.
And what year was that?
That was 2012.
Okay, so it's been 11 years.
So this is the largest. Before that was 96, where they beat them 54-26. So they're averaging about 52 points on Navy in here.
Yeah, so it's not great. My prediction of Navy plus the points isn't great because Navy isn't a great football team. However, historically, this could be pretty great.
Take the over-under. Take the over, basically, is what I'm telling you to do. Micaiah.
Yeah.
Superlatives or superlatives.
Superlatives?
That one.
There it is.
I can't say the word.
Do you know what that word means?
Those are hard. No, I don't actually.
Okay, great. Neither do I.
Oh, okay, cool. We're doing your preseason ones of those.
All right. Do we need to write them down? Do you keep track of them?
I texted you them, so I already have them written down.
No, but what my answers are to them.
We probably should do that.
So we'll put them in the doc.
Yep, I see that. I'm making room for it right now.
Okay. So you're going to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Because
you do it.
You have to be the one talking, and so it's easier for me to...
I'll be the one talking. So, for those of you that don't know what superlatives are, they are something that radio shows do from time to time that people make large and outrageous accusations or predictions, and no one has no idea what the word superlatives mean. So what
it means an exaggerated or hyperbolic expression of praise. Yeah.
Okay, great. So basically, we could also call these Micaiah's 2023 college football predictions. It has been decided.
It has been decided.
It has been decided. So Simeon's going to ask me a bunch of questions. Then I'm going to give him a bunch of answers. And then Simeon's going to say something and write them down, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully write them down somewhere.
And
also,
then
then we'll check on them throughout the season. And as they get more and more bad, we'll just make fun of me for them. Yeah.
Yeah. So remember here that also we were homeschooled, and so you would know these because of your yearbook. So yeah, we're moving on.
Superlatives?
Yes, like most likely to succeed, class clown. Those are superlatives.
You know, the most likely to succeed people probably are in jail.
You know, I would love to somehow have a database and know the answer to that. I bet it would be about 50-50 at the end of the day.
No, I bet the class clown's in jail. The people most likely to proceed, they're selling
the class clown's either in jail, a salesman making a lot of money, or a comedian making a lot of money.
Yeah, and the person most likely to succeed is a part of a pyramid scheme. What do you call them?
Yeah.
What do you call a legitimate pyramid scheme?
A legit
LMA?
No, it's dear Lord.
LMM?
You're close. It's bugging the crap out of me.
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to Google legit pyramid.
I mean, legit. Sometimes they're just regular ass
legit pyramid scheme.
This is what we get.
MLM.
Multi-level marketing. That's
there
right.
It is. Yeah,
you were close.
I was close.
You were one letter off.
I had the L and I had the M, but that's just my life. Close, but no. Are you really gonna take this above? Put these notes above the sports report section?
We can, yes, because okay. I'm sorry. Yes,
no,
because
it's
NBA,
fine.
The NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs are so relevant right now.
Okay, well, you know what? It was a friendly reminder, so I'll just remove it.
Micaiah, we're going to start off with a fun one here. Who do you think are going to have the best uniforms this season?
The best uniforms this season? So it's got to be some sort of throwback. The best unis. I don't even know why I'm thinking about this. Navy or Army. For the Army-Navy game, always come up, and even not in the Army-Navy game, come up with some dope-ass uniforms. So it's either Navy or Army, or they're going to tie for first. They're going to just be excellent. Go follow us, 4th and 1 Podcast on Instagram, and when they do announce cool uniforms, I will post them on the story. Everyone can see.
Yeah, I remember Air Force is really cool, like shark uniforms.
I mean, when you get
in
that
like
government
2016, 2017,
when you get that government involved in uniforms, they go all out.
They were tight. And to be quite frank, our armed forces, besides the Space Force, have some pretty dope unis. Okay,
Yeah.
Micaiah, more actual superlatives.
Superlatives.
The best. Who's going to have the best offense this season? And this is totally subjective or objective. Whatever you want to make it. If you want to make it who's going to put up the most stats this year, that's awesome. And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, he got these at 7:33 a.m. this morning. So he has had time to prepare.
And by time, you mean no time at all because I was dealing with Joint Commission all day?
Yeah, because you were working and trying to get people to pass stuff.
All right. So I'm going to go with...
Also, when your clothes stink, make sure that you turn the fan on.
My clothes stink?
One of the things on the reports was that there wasn't enough airflow in the laundry.
Oh, my gosh.
Basically is what it broke down
Whatever. Well, and then there was too much airflow in one of the other laundry rooms. Whatever. Don't even get me started. Why
probably not allowed to share this information.
Why must you get me all revved up? No, Joint Commission's findings are public knowledge. Everything is. That's why Joint Commission does it.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, don't use expired test strips. Stop leaving out sugar. And make sure that your nurses and other people are able to have continuing education.
Okay, you only got like one of those three right, but that's okay.
Dude, there was glucose things all over. I hit 2 of those. But the rest were above my head.
Okay. All right. So best offense. I'm going to say it's going to be the Michigan Wolverines.
Wow.
Yep. I'm going to say best offense, Michigan. Like I've been kind of preaching here, returning quarterback, 2 returning running backs, an NFL offensive line, 2 returning receivers. 1 led the team in big plays last year. The other one was hurt, but then when he was healthy, he was electric. NFL tight ends. So just kind of NFL pieces all over the offense. I'm going to say Michigan is going to have the best offense.
Oh, I have another one that I just remembered.
Okay.
Best air raid offense.
Oh, my gosh. Well, so USC runs a version of the air raid.
Counts.
Okay, so I'm going to say USC then.
Really?
Yeah.
Not over UTSA, not over Western Kentucky.
No, it's going to be no, because Caleb Williams. I almost put best offense would be USC because of Caleb Williams. I don't know what kind of pieces Caleb Williams has around, and I know what kind of pieces JJ has around him. So I'm going to put best air raid USC.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
This is fun. We should do more segments like this.
Okay, best defense, obviously.
So, best defense is probably going to be some school that you never heard of in terms of statistically.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to say that the Alabama defense has just been much maligned for the better part of 2.5 years, and they returned to some type of glory because they've just been beaten down the last 2 years. So I'm going to say Alabama is a top 5 statistically defense, but people are talking about their unit as the best in college football this year.
All right, that's fair. All right, another random one that I come up with on the spot. Best trick play.
Who's going to have the best trick play?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm going to just shoot a shot in the dark and say Tulane.
All right, new coach in Tulane, I'm pretty sure.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure he left.
I don't think so.
Now you're going to make me make me check. I'll check while you tell me who the best head coach of 2023 will be.
I'm going to say the best head coach in 2023 is going to be Kevin DeBoer of Washington.
Was this the guy who got fired and then not fired and then fired again?
No, that's Washington State you're thinking of.
Yes, I am thinking of them. That's why
Kevin DeBoer came from Fresno after losing only like 6 games in 4 years or something like that.
Yep.
He has a 90%, and then he went 10-2 last year. And I think he could go undefeated, 11-1 this year, and make the college football playoff and lead a very explosive offense. So I'm going to say Kevin DeBoer of Washington.
That's fair, and you're correct. Willie Fritz. He's been there for 7 years, coming from Georgia Southern and Sam Houston State before that.
Charlotte's head coach, his first name is Biff.
I'm sorry. What?
You heard me.
Okay.
Biff.
Is that the best head coach name? Is that the best name in college football?
Oh, for sure. I gotta look this up because there are some really, really good names in college football. Let me see if I can't find them.
Carolina. I can't spell Carolina. It's my mother's name.
Probably the best overall name. Who are you looking for?
Oh, Charlotte. I'm
Charlotte.
an idiot.
No, probably General Booty.
That's right.
Of Oklahoma. Probably the best name. General Booty.
He's also, yes.
Parker. There's
Biff,
Parker Titsworth.
Biff Poggi.
Yeah.
Is the dude's name. Not only Francis Xavier Biff Poggi. He was born in
Crawford.
Yeah.
Louisiana Tech.
He did. Oh, he was the assistant head coach last year at Michigan.
Yes, he was. Mm-hmm.
That's right. I forgot. We did this.
A Tulane wide receiver, probably going to be involved in the best trick play. Fat Watts. Fat Watts. It's a video that someone sent the Instagram page. So Parker Titsworth, center of Ohio. Jaden Muskrat, Tulane. Tiger Shanks, UNLV tackle. Fish McWilliams. So that's cool.
That's a nice one.
All right, let's get back to it.
It's going to bug me who their offensive coordinator was. It was Jim Sabovna. It was his first season, and he is no longer there. So I don't know where he went, but he's not there anymore at Tulane. Okay.
At Charlotte, you mean?
No, Tulane. I was trying to figure out who their offensive coordinator was. Best head coach.
You already asked me that. I said Kevin DeBoer of Washington.
Oh, Kevin DeBoer. I'm sorry. I have to. Best coordinator, singular. So offense or defense. And most importantly, they have to be better than their opposite. So if you pick an offensive, he has to be better overall than the best defensive. That's kind of how it works. But
I don't know many coordinators. I know that we just did like weeks upon weeks, and you gave me all the coordinator name if they were new.
I tried to.
You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say best coordinator, and I think he won this award last year. I'm going to say it's going to be Garrett Riley, offensive coordinator at Clemson.
I thought he was at
TCU, and then Dabo went out and poached him. I just think that Clemson's kind of fallen off a bit. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the ACC episode of the 4th and 1 podcast, the ACC preview. I just think that Derek Riley is going to rejuvenate that offense and be in the candidate position to take home the best assistant coach, which I don't know. I forget what award that is, but
the Art Briles or whatever it's called.
No, that's an actual guy's name.
Do you think I actually know these things off the top of my head?
I don't know. I'll look it up. Here. Best assistant coaches. The Broyles Award winner.
The Broyles. I was close. Okay, Broyles, Brile. I don't know.
Yeah, you got the B and you got the R.
Who's the head coach of Washington again?
Kevin DeBoer.
DeBoer. You know who I think might actually have a shot at?
Who?
Is Manny Diaz.
Over at Penn State, yeah. Roberto's really high on Penn State this year. He sees Penn State. I mean, you only had Penn State's only loss coming at Michigan. He thinks that Penn State could actually run the table and beat everybody. I will believe it once they actually beat Ohio State.
If a team is good enough to have one loss, they're good enough to have no losses. Quote it, put it in the book.
Okay. Write it in pen.
Garrett Riley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to butcher that name. Just throw it in there and hope for the best.
There you go.
Okay. Your pick for the 2023 Nissan Heisman. We already know my pick. Actually, it's more of a prediction, but it's kind of a pick too.
Your pick's who? J.J. McCarthy?
J.J. McCarthy. John Jacob McCarthy.
You know who I'm going to pick? JJ's not bad, especially with him having the best offense. I'm going to go with Michael Penix, quarterback over at Washington.
You're really high on Washington this season.
I really
Holy
am.
crap.
Because I slept on Washington, but every time I turned them on, they were scoring 1,000,000 points. And then I look up at the end of the year, and I'm like, oh, Washington sucks. And I turn on the Apple Cup at the end of the year at 10:30 at night. And they're at the time, they're 9-2. They go on to win that game 10-2. I'm like, holy moly. It felt like they were like terrible. Well, imagine if they can go from 10-2, return Michael Penix, and do very well. So Michael Penix is Michael, and then Penix is Penix.
Oh, that's a cool last name.
Yeah.
That should be on your list.
Yeah, he also throws left-handed. He was the quarterback. Do you remember the quarterback during Indiana COVID season, where they beat Penn State because he reached out at the goal line in overtime. Then
Don't
he
remember
went
that play,
toe-to-toe with Justin Fields at Ohio State, and then they clompered Michigan. He was the quarterback.
Ah.
Yeah.
So good pick up on Kevin DeBoer's part. And that's your dog probably falling down.
Are you good, dude?
Yep.
Oh, wait, no, he was upstairs. I thought he was stuck in his house. Nope, he's fine.
No, that's hilarious.
You good,
Micaiah,
bro?
biggest impact player, i.e., without them, they would be nothing. Someone who brings their team or their offense or defensive unit up to the 10 out of 10 tier.
Yeah. Now, I want everyone to just realize that when I'm doing this, I don't know every single individual player's name.
Yes, because we have a bunch of passionate fans who fight in our comment section.
Yeah. Sure. Definitely. We get millions of comments of video, so I know that this will be a hot top.
Yep, us and Mr. Beast really fighting for...
Absolutely. Now you know what I'd be saying. What'd you say? Biggest impact? Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, that's a great pick.
Thank you. Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver.
If Ohio State does not have their 3 losses like I predict them, it will be for one man, and it will be because of him. It will be because of Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
Only reason.
He is a special talent.
Junior. Okay. I just had them. Okay. Most improved team.
I'm going to go with the Iowa Hawkeyes.
You really think Michigan's that good, huh?
Yeah.
See what I did there?
I do see what you did there.
Okay. Most.
Wow, you spelled Iowa. Dude, you just got to switch the O and the W.
Dude, I
There
just
you
let
go.
autocorrect spell Iowa for me when I needed to spell Iowa. The opposite of most improved, biggest disappointment.
I'm going to go with...
And it can be obvious answers that we've already covered. I'm okay with that.
I'm going to go with the Miami Hurricanes.
Okay, you covered it a little bit, but go on.
About what? Miami?
Why?
Oh, because Miami is just
We
one
got a
of these...
podcast to fill here. Come on, we need a little bit
about
of fluff.
46 minutes. Miami, they're just always hyped. Mario Cristobal, like, he had a good team that he inherited from Manny Diaz.
Yeah.
And he just went in and they just immediately stunk. Their offense stunk. Their defense stunk. And so they're probably a 9. They should be a 9-3, 10-2, especially in the ACC. And I just think they're gonna go 7-5, 8-4. You know, like it'll be a solid season, but not world beaters.
Here's a good one that I'm typing right now. Most likely to get fired by week 5.
Oh, Jimbo Fisher. Just call this the Jimbo most likely to be Joe
Fisher Award.
The Jimbo Fisher Award. Jimbo Fisher. Yeah. No, that's easy. Jimbo Fisher.
Most likely quarterback, obviously. Most likely to get benched by week 2.
Oh, they're probably.
AKA the most overhyped quarterback.
Do you have one in mind?
No. You're supposed to be the expert here. How about this? I'll make it even broader. Most overhyped player.
Probably most overhyped player.
Preferably a starter.
I don't know if he's a starter yet, but I mean, I could put in this either Kyle McCord or you could. I'm going to go Kyle McCord, Ohio State quarterback. You don't really know what he brings to the table. Yeah, he's highly recruited. Yeah, quarterbacks really don't fail in Ryan Day's offense. So I'm grasping at straws.
Well, this is one of the 2 white dudes.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go with Kyle McCord because I really don't know every single quarterback room situation around the country, if that makes sense.
That's fair. I mean, at the end of the day, and I'm trying to just come up with ones as we go here. Highest scoring game. And for the record, technically you can't put ignorance on this one because we went over almost all of them.
Yeah, well, you're not. Yeah, we literally hit every single game. Let me look here. But I don't remember every single game we talked about.
Yeah, but okay, it's most likely going to be this offense and this defense. Okay, they're going to play this player and they're going to play this team.
Let me
so
think.
Most likely,
let me just.
I
think.
am trying to fill time, sir.
Are you? Well, you're doing a terrible job. Actually, you're doing a good job at filling time. I'm doing a terrible job at talking.
It happens.
All right.
And for
hold on.
At this point, yes. While you're pulling that, at this point, I'm making shit up on the spot at this point and just giving it to Micaiah and seeing what happens.
Oh my goodness, you enjoy torturing me, don't you?
Yeah, a little bit too much.
Tennessee and UTSA.
That is a great pick.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, buddy. Didn't mean to scare you. Come here. What are you doing to your back end? Can you knock it off?
As we do a little bit of Duke checking the mascot. This episode brought to you by Duke Mayonnaise.
Okay, I'm
not
back.
really. We don't.
Yeah, Tennessee and UTSA.
That's a good pick. Lowest scoring game.
Oh, you're killing me right now.
There's a very easy answer to this.
A very easy answer?
Yes.
Does it involve Northwestern?
No, it does not involve Northwestern.
Okay, well,
put it in the. I thought you were looking at the.
Oh,
doc,
no!
I
can. Oh, Army Navy. No, I think you're wrong. It's Northwestern with whatever SEC or FCS school they play.
You think? Okay, hold up. Northwestern football schedule 2023. They play
Northwestern
UTEP
and Howard.
Howard
and Northwestern.
What are the odds? Since we're talking about that, what are the odds?
What are those?
What are the odds that Howard destroys Northwestern? Like, we're talking
pretty good, because Northwestern on September 17, 2022 lost to Southern Illinois.
I don't even know what's in Southern Illinois. Northern Kentucky? Is that what's in Southern Illinois?
Probably.
Makai, you got any
Illinois.
off the top of the dome that you feel like I've missed that you want me to answer?
That I want you to answer?
Or that you want me to ask?
Right,
I don't care.
Here's one for you. Here's one for you. Or the crowd. Biggest surprise team in a good way. There's always one team.
That's the most improved.
No.
So in a good way? How is that not most improved?
Because most improved is a team that you see coming. Most surprised, obviously, is a surprise. So like last year, it was TCU, right? No one expected TCU to do what TCU did. Year before, I felt like it was Michigan. They went 2-4 the year before, kind of flirting with that, made the college football playoff. So, what team will be in contention for the let me phrase it another way. What team will be in contention for the college football playoff that we're not talking about right now?
Who's going to be ranked 4th, basically?
Sure.
That we're not talking about now.
Right now.
3 weeks before week 0.
Yep.
Dear Lord, that is a great question. As Micaiah enters stuff into the... Well, it's good. It has to be a Power 5. It can't be TCU. Can it be... would Utah be a surprise? The issue, like the two names that come to the top of my head first is Penn State and Utah.
Okay, so Penn State had 2 losses, and so did Utah. So would they be a surprise to you? Haven't we talked about them as a college football playoff contender? What is a team that we haven't talked about as a college football playoff contender?
But we talked about as a good team in general?
No, I'm talking biggest surprise team. Look at me, right here.
Yeah. Ted.
Is a team that we have not talked about making a remote chance of making the college football playoff. Will make a run at the college football playoff.
Well, I'm looking at our schedules right now.
Okay.
I would laugh my butt off if it's Colorado.
Okay.
Neither of us think that's going to happen.
No.
Well, you said it yourself earlier. Washington's up there. I know 10-2, but Washington's up there. That you have them losing to Stanford and USC, beating Oregon, Utah, and obviously Washington State.
Dude,
I
I'm
think
so
they have
good
to
right
play.
now. I'm so hot. Yep.
I'm looking at other people. Wisconsin. That would be another one.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't be.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one.
Okay.
Texas A&M.
You're going to go opposite to your Jimbo prediction and say, if somehow, let's look at this. So week 1, New Mexico, you have them losing to Miami in week 2, winning the next 3, dropping to Alabama and Tennessee, losing to South Carolina, losing to Ole Miss, and losing to LSU. So, here's the valid question. There's no way on God's green earth, if LSU loses that game, they will be the biggest disappointment, right? They lose that game the last week of the season.
All right, no, you're right, because I can't have a coach getting fired and them making the college football playoff.
No, but you're also completely right, because if the opposite side of the coin happens, right? If they beat Miami, if they upset Alabama again, Tennessee isn't as strong as they are. Oh no. Now we have a 6-0 going into their bye week Texas A&M team. That's a totally different team that could be, or even a 6-1 that could be a possibility. And then they win out the rest. Can an 11-1 Texas A&M team who, loses to LSU, they're technically second in the West, can they get into the college football? Would that count as the biggest surprise?
Dude. So they
Do
were
we
5
both have to wear black shirts every week?
They were 5-7, and their offense was atrocious. Petrino coming in there, Bobby Petrino coming in there. Their offense is going to be better almost immediately.
We at least know their necks will be braced properly.
It's got to be It's got to be like a Florida. Who we got going 6-6.
Florida's another good. I think it's going to be a team out of the SEC. Let's start there.
Okay.
I think if we were going to go division, it's not going to be the ACC. Sorry, North Carolina State.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, or I don't even know who else you
West
have
Virginia?
here. Duke.
Could you have a West Virginia? Out of Big 12?
I don't think. Where are they going to come from, dude?
That's what I'm saying. It's a team that you don't even expect, isn't even on your radar.
Yeah, but by week 3, we were like, Texas Christian's looking pretty interesting this year. By week 5, we were like, snap.
By week 6, we're like, they're all one-score games. They're all one-score games. By
you
week
have a
9,
better memory than I do.
By week 9, it's, they're pretty good, but they're all one-score games. How good can they actually be?
If anything, it would be more likely to be Iowa for me, if they're going to go with a one-score game type of situation.
So you have Iowa going 10-2.
Yeah.
But you also want them as your biggest surprising team?
No, I really don't, because I want Michigan to win the national championship in my lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, me too, bud. Me too. All right, I'm going to put Texas A. You know who I'm going to put? I'm going to make a wild and wacky prediction. I'm going to put West Virginia.
Okay.
I'm just going to full send this thing. And you're going to put Iowa.
Okay. I love it. Perfect. It doesn't even, at this point, it doesn't even matter. I think I'm pretty confident pushing this button, and oh no, we've lost them.
Yeah. Anyone who listens to the 10-Minute Sports Report knows that this is a thing. It's so frustrating, but it is what it is. So just what you're going to have to do, my dude, just so you know, and the viewers, I'll give them, is you're just going to have to download the raw audio files.
Oh, you think this is going to cause us an issue?
Yeah, it won't do it.
Well, this has been a great way to end the podcast.
Yeah,
you're telling me technical things. This has been the 4th and 1 podcast. We're going to do a silent out of respect for Jimbo Fisher getting fired in week 6.
But them also making the college football playoff.
Dude, how would you love it if they dropped 2, right? And then somehow and then they win out. with their interim coach, whoever that would be, and then somehow the rest of college football just craps the bed, so all of a sudden Texas A&M looks like a good school. The anarchist in me would absolutely love that.
Yeah. No, for sure it would be an exciting time.
Okay.
And we're due for 2007 at some point. However, the team that kicked off 2007 were the Michigan Wolverines. So let's not have 2007 happen again
Or just to a different school.
Or just to a different school. Absolutely.
Yeah. Great example. Notre Dame, go lose to Navy in Ireland.
Yeah.
Right,
hey, Georgia, mess it up. Yeah. Someone else do it.
Someone else.
Someone else.
We'll see you guys next week.
Wash your hands, you filthy animals.